Today, when we hear the word decimate, we picture total chaotic ruin, an entire city leveled, an army completely wiped off the map. But the word actually comes from the Latin decimus, meaning tenth. In the ancient Roman military, decimation was a precise, chillingly mathematical procedure designed to remove exactly 1 in 10. To understand why Rome invented this procedure, look at this formation. Without radios or modern communication, an ancient army was highly fragile, operating entirely as a large, tightly packed block of men. Panic posed a far greater threat to that structure than enemy weapons. Courage is contagious, but fear moves faster. If a single terrified soldier flees his post, he creates a physical gap that can pull the men beside him into a cascading collapse. Commanders needed an extreme countermeasure to prevent this chain reaction and bind thousands of individual minds into a single, immovable unit. They engineered a terrifying psychological solution. They conditioned their soldiers to fear the highly organized wrath of their own commanders more than any enemy on the battlefield. Rome never deployed decimation for isolated criminals. The punishment was triggered strictly by catastrophic group failures, like mass desertion, mutiny, or an entire cohort dropping their weapons in cowardice. When a unit was condemned, soldiers were meticulously divided into smaller clusters of exactly 10 men. Within those small circles, lots were drawn. Survival relied completely on chance. A soldier's personal bravery during the battle, or his own individual innocence, meant absolutely nothing once the lots were cast. Whoever drew the fatal lot was condemned to die. However, the Roman state did not ever send an official executioner or a firing squad to carry out the sentence. The execution was left entirely to the remaining 9 men in the group. They were ordered to club or stone their own comrade to death. This forced the surviving 9 to become active participants. They physically executed a man they had trained, marched, and eaten beside, ensuring they carried the visceral memory of what their collective failure had cost. We see this brutal logic deployed during the 1st century BC. Spartacus and his gladiator rebellion had repeatedly shattered the confidence of the legions and humiliated Roman forces in the field. When Marcus Licinius Crassus took command of an army paralyzed by these defeats, his immediate objective was to assert absolute, unquestionable authority over his own ranks. After a portion of his troops broke and ran from the rebels in disgrace, Crassus resurrected the ancient tradition of decimation. He ordered the condemned men divided by lot and executed in full public view of the entire army. This was calculated political theater, ensuring that every surviving soldier witnessed the exact cost of turning their back on the enemy. Through this ritual, Crassus shifted the army's fear from the rebels to himself. In the brutal logic of Roman command, a soldier might risk death from an enemy's blade if he can run, but he will stand his ground if his own commander's punishment is a certainty. Despite its notoriety, decimation was rarely used. It was a volatile option, and commanders knew that slaughtering their own men too casually could quickly trigger the exact mutinies they were trying to prevent. The true target of the punishment was the surviving 90. These layers of humiliation reinforced a singular reality. Dishonor severed a soldier from the protected body of the army. To be Roman was to belong to the unit. To fail it was to be cast out into the cold. The legendary endurance of the Roman military relied on roads, logistics, and intense training, but it was bound together by a system that claimed absolute ownership over a soldier's life. In Rome, collective failure always